Hey guys, in this episode we are live from the site of a property we are about to demolish, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we got the subdivision passed and what we did to get to this point. So stand by. All right, welcome to the HyperFast Wealth podcast. We are out of the studio on site today at this soon-to-be beautiful home in Alton Place. So we got a little bit of work to do. I'm here with my co-host Sunil Saxena.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you.
Yeah, this happens to be, we were just talking about this, happens to be the 1-year anniversary of when we first purchased this house. Obviously, we got a lot of work to do. We're gonna tear this down and build 2 amazing homes. And people might be wondering, well, heck, you bought it a year ago, you're tearing it down like today or tomorrow, whenever that actually happens. Why does it take a year to do? So let's explain to everyone what we're doing here, going from 1 house to 2 houses, what that entails, and we're actually ahead of schedule, but let's go through
Let's talk about it. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, this is, we're in here in Northwest DC, as you mentioned. The street's actually Alton Place. This is actually a fairly large lot for DC. You probably can't tell on camera right now, but it goes way over there to kind of way over there. For DC, that's a large lot. For you out in the Midwest, it's probably like nothing, but it's a large lot in DC. But we budgeted about a year to do all this because first step was to actually subdivide the lot. So it was 1 lot. Now we actually have 2 lots, so we're officially subdivided. And the nice thing that we've talked about when that actually happens, that actually increased our value right away. So we could sell these as 2 lots, make money, and even walk away even if we wanted to now. But obviously we're going to build the houses. So really the subdivision took a certain amount of time, and then building permits, of course, in DC also take a lot of time. And the other thing that takes time in this particular project is what we call a raise permit, or it's also known as a demo permit in other jurisdictions. So that's something that takes almost 9 months in DC to get that. A lot of projects we do in DC, we don't actually tear the entire building down, but in this one we actually have to tear it down, and then we're going to do 2 houses. So we budgeted about a year to do all that, and here we are a year later. We've actually started the work. Again, you probably can't tell on camera, but the entire site is clear. Next week this house will probably be gone by next week sometime. So so we're on schedule, just moving ahead here.
Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff in there. So just a couple things to point out. Like one is the development cycle. Like the longer you hold, onto something and improve it, the more you're gonna make. Yeah. Right now, there's some people, and by the time this airs, we'll have just had our wholesaling meeting for Grid. So if you missed that, make sure you get to the next Grid Arlington meeting to learn from us and the people we're bringing in. But there's some people that would have just gotten a deal like this under contract. Sold it for a little bit of profit, never closed, never, and then they're just gonna boom, boom, keep doing that. We could have sold it after subdivision, like you said. Absolutely. And, that's adds a year to this particular process. Or we can do what we're gonna do and go the full way and build 2 amazing, beautiful homes here and sell them to the end buyer.
Yeah, that's a great point you brought up, because anytime you're doing development, there's always, I guess, these inflection points where you could sell at. So as soon as we got under contract, we could have, went ahead and got the permits and everything ready, and even sold it fairly quickly at that time. The next big inflection point on this one was the subdivision process. We could have, at that point, we could sell 2 separate lots, and then once we have our actual full permits, that's another inflection point. So we could have sold at any of those any of those points, and there's always money to be made for the next guy, so to speak. But in our case, we're going to do the entire thing, and it'll probably be about it shouldn't quite take 2 years, but about an 18-month to maybe 20-month process for the entire thing, which is exactly what we budgeted. So should be a good project when it's done.
Yeah, and it'll be exciting to come back and remind people of this when we have the finished product and show them okay, this is what it looks like now, and we got in the 1.3s and then took a year to do this, to get to this point, and then boom, now we have 2-3 million dollar homes,
$6 million total value, exactly.
So when all is said and done, we're going to increase the value by 4.7. Obviously, we've got cost and we're spending money, but we're getting maximum value add.
Yeah, exactly. We're definitely maximizing the site. We're in Northwest DC, so there's actually not a lot of these higher end houses. So I think we're going to deliver a great product and hopefully have them sold very quickly or even pre-sold.
Yeah, what other like pieces of advice would you give people out there just about the planning process, permitting, subdivision, or how to get involved in that if they want to?
I think the biggest thing is just, understand what you're getting into. That's the thing is that, a lot of people, they maybe take on more than they can chew, so to speak, and then they realize, they think, oh, it's just going to take 3 months to get this done. No, it took us a year, like you mentioned, just to get to this point, but we knew that going into it, and we budgeted for it, and our pro forma reflected that, and we had the holding costs and the interest reserve and all those things we need. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just know what you're getting into. I know you've done a subdivision in Arlington County. I've done one in Fairfax County, and actually we have another one we're looking at right now. And yeah, it's a couple year process to do that. So you have to understand your holding costs and everything that kind of goes into that. You're dealing with releasing a bond right now, which you're also, that's a whole process in Arlington and Fairfax County. So yeah, it's just, the biggest thing I would say, just know what you're getting into. As long as you know it up front, I think, you should be fine.
Yeah, I think that's where people run into troubles if they don't know, like the time and the cost, right? Obviously, you know how much the deal is going to cost to buy. If you're good at projecting, the resale value, or you should be able to dial that in. But if you haven't done this process before, you need to really do your homework or partner with someone that has, and really dial in, like, what's the time going to be? Because that's going to affect your carrying cost and your financing costs and all of that. But then how much is that going to cost to do, right?
It's an extra cost of the project, exactly.
Right, so like, how much would you estimate we're going to spend on this project just in the hold time, just the carrying cost, and what we got to pay the engineers and lawyers and all that to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, either get some really good consultants or people around you that know what they're doing. They can really help you through the process, or partner with someone perhaps like us if it's a project local here that just knows what they're doing. If you've done a couple of them, once you've done them, you kind of understand how these work. But yeah, that's just the biggest thing I see is people get into stuff and they just. They think it's going to take 3 months. It actually takes 9 months. It's going to take $10,000, takes $20,000 or $30,000 or whatever the thing is. They just, and for whatever reason, I think human nature is we underestimate because we want to there's going to be money in this deal. And we want to make money. So we always underestimate time and money. And I think that's where that's the biggest thing I've seen people get in trouble with.
Yeah, you got to know those numbers. Like, this is a 6-figure cost just to hold it during this time, and 6 figures for the engineers, 6 figures for the subdivision process, all of that, and you got to know that with this cost, with this time, this deal makes sense.
Exactly. You just have to, it's all numbers at the end of the day. And it's just, as long as you know those numbers and you budgeted it and the deal still makes sense, great, go for it. But the problem is a lot of these deals, get upside down or underwater because they didn't budget the time or the money. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I see.
All right. So if you're out there thinking about taking on one of these big deals, make sure you know the numbers going in, like, what's it going to cost? How long will it take you to develop it? What will the cost of that be, and what are you going to sell it for? Because if you screw that up and your margin's not big enough, you're going to be in trouble, and we don't want that to happen to any of you guys. One of the ways, I'll just mention it, one of the ways you can, really increase your chances of success is to learn from people who've done it before. So I do want to mention our investor meeting. We do them second Tuesday of every month, so you can learn more about that. Go to hyperfastwealth.com. You can learn about that, as well as download our 10 tips on how to make money through real estate. So Neil and I have put together 10 tips how to make money through real estate. It's hyperfastwealth.com. And on next week's show, we'll be talking about why you should go to real estate events. The benefits of that. And we're going to talk into, there's several benefits you get, several things you learn, and all sorts of stuff. So don't miss that show. Don't miss any of these. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and enjoy some of the demo footage we're about to show you. We'll see you next time.
See you guys next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, leave us some comments. We want to know your feedback, and share this with someone that you think could benefit as well. And if you want to see more great videos, click this playlist up here, or better yet, click right here to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of our updates.